Started the first full week back to school with a fun fortune cookie. And while we were in the grocery store, the heavens decided to open up on us.
So I just finished what is called an Autopilot reset on my lab, and in short, it uninstalls and reinstalls all the software. It makes sure that the operating system is up to date, and it does all of the different processes just to make sure that everything's fresh and clean. Now, I would be a little bit more convinced that everything was set up correctly if these two computers had the same times on them. The last step that I like to do with my lab to basically verify to myself that everything installed correctly is that the last piece of software that installs in the process is an application called Vision, which makes it so that I can control a lot of things about the lab from the front of the room, including restarting all of the computers. So once that functionality is there, it kind of proves to me that the computer lab is ready for me to use.
On the first day with the freshmen, it's an annual tradition to invite the freshmen into the gym with excitement and cheering. If you recall from the end of school, on the seniors' last day, we walked them out with the same procession.
Well, I finished Masquerade of the Heart by Katy Rose Poole, and I didn't like it quite as much as the first book, but it was a fun continuation of the story. There was definitely more going on than just the romance piece. There's a lot of twists and turns. I was satisfied with the ending. I liked it, so I would recommend the series.
After being allowed to store the Bradley GT in the school's auto shop for a few months, we needed to move it to a storage facility. Hopefully this will be a temporary solution because there isn't a way to work on it at the new location, but I guess more than just me were storing our cars in the shop and he wanted to have his classroom space back for the start of school. And since I'm pulling dashcam footage, later that evening I did pass by a rafter of wild turkeys on my way home afterward. The next day we had all the students at the school, so we had a short assembly to welcome everybody back for the 24-25 school year.
Freshmen, you have a maximum decibel of 113.9. Sophomores, you were 117.1. Juniors, you were 117.6. Seniors, you were 118.0.
So over the last week, I've been trying to dry out my aquariums so that I can, scrape the rocks out and recycle them. I'd kind of like to not throw them away, but it keeps raining. So for about 4 months, these lilies have been acting like they're just about to pop, and it's been a drizzly day for the last couple days, and finally decided to follow through. So we've got one. It looks like that second one's just about to go. It should be there tomorrow. Maybe that third one over on the right. So, lilies. Last 24 hours really hasn't been raining per se, but it's been kind of a constant drizzle, so guess we're at about half an inch.
Friday was my parents' 60th anniversary, and so our annual picnic at Phil and Betty's on Saturday, we got together to celebrate. The maid of honor and the flower girl were there in attendance. One of the groomsmen was there too, but I'm not sure why he wasn't outside for the photos we were taking. Anyway, when they cut the cake, they made sure my brother and I got corner pieces.
For my book club this week, we read Warrior Girl Unearthed by Angeline Boulley, and it is set in the same kind of community world as The Firekeeper's Daughter by the same author, which I loved. So I was excited to read this one. I would say that the differences were, there's a little bit of difference in the time frame. The book I just read, Warrior Girl Unearthed, was set closer to modern times, not as much in the 80s, but both were in Michigan, on Sugar Island, which is a place where a Native American tribe had settled, and Perry was our main character, and I felt like there was a lot of character development in her, and we learned a lot about her as well as her culture, and I really enjoyed it. I learned a ton. I would say that it was a little slower than Firekeeper's Daughter. The writing was great, but it just took a little bit longer to get there. I felt like the mystery was one that I didn't have completely figured out, but there were enough crumbs that I was moving along with what was going on. I would recommend it. And especially if you don't know very much about Native American culture and how their remains are treated and how they're just displayed in places as if they weren't really people. It was pretty heartbreaking to really think about some of the things that they had gone through. So I would highly recommend this book.
Saturday night was the Drum Corps International Finals, which we watched. We didn't get quite into the shows as much this year, but I did catch a couple of good moments for the vlog.
The 2024 Drum Corps International World Champion with a score of 98.75. 98.75, the Blue Coats.